Professor Wajackoyah is in the house. He's among the 4 cleared to run for president. According to Moses Kuria in a tweet, there is a national crisis. And Professor Wajackoyah is the crisis. If we are to believe Moses Kuria, Wajackoyah is causing a national crisis because he's just about to force a runoff. My followers, subscribers, viewers, and friends have asked me to look at this Wajackoyah issue. They have also asked me to talk about the InfoTrack opinion poll that now firmly places Raila Odinga in the lead. Let's start with Wajackoyah. It is true that anybody who lives in this country will have to agree that Wajackoyah has caused a sensation. Never before has a fringe candidate enlisted so much in the country. We have had interesting characters running for office. Most notable was Abdul Badida, but he got nowhere near where Wajackoyah is. Could it be the marijuana angle? Yes, the marijuana angle will excite many people, especially young people. As a parent, I'm a worried parent. Many young boys and girls in this country are into drugs. It is sad. At the coastal town of Mombasa, Malindi, and others, the level of drug intake among young people is worrying. Many young children in schools and colleges are into drugs. So when here comes a guy wanting to be president of the Republic of Kenya, in a country with such a huge number of drug takers, if you want to call them that, bangi smokers. On top of it, in a country where there is serious disillusionment, where we have armies upon armies of young men and women equipped with education but with no job, in a state of helplessness, Wajackoyah could be very exciting. What he says resonates with them. Somebody said, I can't remember who it was, that it is quite possible in a country for a demagogue to come and capitalize on the suffering and the pain and disillusionment in a country and get state power. We may be staring at this, although we are not yet there. On the Wajackoyah issue, one will also be tempted to worry, to ask, between Raila Odinga and William Ruto, who would Wajackoyah affect most? Because Wajackoyah is going for the youth vote. The youth vote is mainly William Ruto's. So the William Ruto camp should not stay pretty. They should know that if this Wajackoyah miracle happens, if it were to hit them equally, it will be in terms of forcing a runoff. But if it were to eat into the results of Raila or Ruto, Raila will be a little luckier because he has his organic followers, vis-a-vis most of these young people who support William Ruto. Secondly, let's now look at the InfoTrack. It says Raila would garner 42% against William Ruto's 38%. Many people have asked me to talk about it. Many have disputed. Do I believe in opinion polls? I have my own reservations. My biggest reservations about opinion polls is the language. Opinion polls are conceived and presented in English. And I don't think most of us can really understand many of the questioning, the techniques of questioning on a questionnaire or in an opinion poll, especially rating questions. However, opinion polling is a science and we must respect it. It gives an indicator. Many times, opinion polls have got it wrong. The most classic demonstration is the Brexit and the one on Hillary Clinton vis-a-vis Trump. Home here, we have our own challenges, not just with opinion polls, but with the manipulations of elections. However, they are an indicator of where we are going, because there can't be an opinion poll in this country today that can say Raila Odinga is doing at 10%. So they will give you more or less the same. So the question is Raila ahead of Ruto? And if yes, what is happening? The easiest way to look at this is to understand Raila's move in terms of progression. Tied with BBI, and by BBI, Raila was not able to declare that he was going to run. For that reason, Ruto was running against Ruto. And his rating was very high. When Raila entered this race a couple of months ago, he began to garner incremental ratings. It therefore can be explained in terms of a late entrant putting up a show, beginning to have a mark, competing favorably, moving the percentages up until where we are. It may even be worse for the William Ruto camp, because this opinion poll by Infotrack was taken before Kalonzo joined. I would want to imagine, therefore, if an opinion poll is conducted now, certainly Raila Odinga will be way above the 42%. That would mean also that William Ruto could drop a bit. Something else about this opinion poll. There are many undecided voters. Somebody has asked me again, what do I make of the undecided voters? And when they finally vote, because they will finally vote, where are they likely to go? I begin by looking at the time the opinion poll was taken, what could have caused such a huge number of people to be undecided? You will have to look at the Kalonzo factor, for example. Kalonzo factor meant there are people who are yet to decide on where to vote on the basis of where Kalonzo would be going. And now that Kalonzo has settled in Azimio, it will follow naturally that Azimio will gain more now that the people who are undecided are now decided on the basis that Kalonzo Musyoka has settled in Azimio. There are also people, especially around the mountain, who are firmly within the William Ruto camp. And then Martha Karua happens. When Martha Karua happens, people have a problem. Say, wait a moment. I am a Ruto person, but now this Martha Karua brings some confusion. So there were people who were caught at the time of the opinion poll, quite undecided, that they are Ruto people, especially women. But what does this mother card mean? What does the mother entry into the race mean? And therefore, there are many people who are undecided today because, so to speak, mother cost brought that confusion. I think by the time other polls are now taken, the confusion will be over. And a good number of those people will have decided. And anybody who was stopped in their firm support for Ruto because mother had happened, I can see a good number of those people moving towards Azimio. So I am again certain that one, if another opinion poll were taken, is taken, because there are going to be taken a number of them today, one, there will be less undecided voters because of Kalonzo having decided and because of the mother issue having now settled. Two, a good chunk of those, certainly the way I've explained, will go to Azimio. And that means, therefore, that in the next opinion polls we are going to witness, it's going to be obvious that Raila Odinga will be in a much, much more comfortable lead. Opinion polls aside, again, because there are people who argue and say, throw away those opinion polls. Let's go to the ground. The ground is Ruto. I've always advised them, the ground is not what you think it is. Many people have been disappointed because people shout on the market centers. People dance on platforms with uniform, border riders, brr, brr, with reflector jackets having your name or your symbol or both. But when the voting is done, people are left in shock. I have argued before that even without following this opinion poll, you can follow the way elections have happened in this country from 2007. Look at Raila's showing in the olden counties. In 2017, for example, how many counties, how many regions, let's just go by regions, how many regions did Raila win? You would agree that he will carry Western, Nyanza, Nairobi, Coast, Eastern, there's maybe another one I've forgotten, but there are basically about 6 of them, leaving Rift Valley for William Samoei Ruto. And within Rift Valley, I invite those who are arguing, within Rift Valley, go and look at how many votes Raila got. What was his percentage showing in Rift Valley? What did he get in places like Nakuru, Turukana, Trans Nzoia, Narok, Kajiado? Go look at his showing in those counties, Samburu. And then you will conclude that given that he was running against the system, that there were many people, for example, within Nandi County, who was in Gishu County, who are basically lawyers, who are not very sure they would vote against Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, and who today are free to vote. When you look at all those dynamics, I'll be surprised if Raila showing in the Rift Valley is anything below 35%. And that's very close to what he had last time. Mount Kenya region. I've argued that the moment William Ruto loses anything around 30% of Mount Kenya, his goose is cooked. Eastern Province, I think I had forgotten that one. Because Eastern Province has the Ukambani counties that have the majority of votes. If you are to give Raila his 30-25% in Embu, Tharaka-Nithi, Meru, and he gets his 70% in the Ukambani counties of Makueni, Kitui, and Machakos, and basically carry Isiolo and Marsabit, you can therefore see even within the Eastern Province, he gets a lion's share, perhaps 50 or so %. So if you calculate honestly, you look at that showing across the country, around the country, you will not even fault this opinion poll. You will already conclude seriously that the man to beat in this election is Raila Odinga.